Well, that was unexpected. Sorry, lingua ignota. Guess this sinner isn't ready, 'cause it's Yeezy season. Kanye West is probably the most well-known figure in music, mainly for his talent to throw himself into the spotlight whenever he basically wants to. He has this uncanny ability to tap into any cultural zeitgeist and make it entirely his own. And this has led him to become incredibly divisive, even among his own fans, and each new release showcases that, and this album is no exception. Now, Donda's release was something that I was skeptical of, since Kanye is Kanye, and he always takes this perfectionist attitude towards his music that pairs so perfectly with his fickleness, leading to numerous albums being announced, then delayed, and then scrapped. But this release was a little different, since we got more than just a little snippet of music, like what we got with Yandhi. We got 3 listening parties that Kanye himself hosted in sold-out stadiums across America, that was also streamed live on Apple TV. And in all honesty, I can only attest for what I've seen of the 3rd one and me watching the live stream of the 1st one, because I thought that was enough, just attending one of the live streams. So, if I'm missing something, don't blame me. But from what we got then was a lot of the same music we got on the album. A lot of what I heard on the 1st one seemed a bit unfinished, so I can't really judge it too harshly. So let's talk about how it turned out in the finished product. So on the actual album, it starts with the song Donda Chant, which is self-explanatory. It's someone chanting the word Donda repeatedly. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it. It just feels like an unnecessary opening song. And then we transition from that to Jail. Jail is this really uplifting anthem that sounds like a song straight out of Ye. Not saying that's a bad thing, because it is a genuinely good song, and the Jay-Z feature is good. The incredibly well done guitar lead fits perfectly with the way he wanted to do the song, and it really works as an opening track, and honestly, it makes Donda Chant feel entirely redundant, because it's just that one word repeated. But I'm not gonna harp on it too much, because I have a lot more to say. So, the next song would be God Breathe, which has this really harsh, Yeezus-esque use of a vocal sample, and I really like it. But honestly, this showcases Kanye's ability to merge all of his styles that he's done into basically a gospel record, because this honestly feels like a gospel record, not a particular denomination of a gospel record, like how it felt on Jesus is King. It feels like it's more unifying of a religious idea, where it talks about his follies as a human and his faith towards God and towards people and towards how he's helped people, and him kind of both showing off as well as showing off his love for God in general. But God Breathed is kind of destroyed by the autotune a little bit, and it's luckily not the worst song to use the autotune on the album. I think Praise God has the worst use of autotune on the album, because it's just disgusting. Maybe it has something to do with my pet peeve of autotune, which is why I'm not a big fan of 808s and heartbreaks, but the way that it's used on that song is specifically obnoxious, because it just grates on the ears, and luckily it's not long enough for me to say, okay, I hate the entire song. It's just that one section. As we go through the track list, we see a lot of common problems that this album has, where it utilizes some people incredibly well, like Westside Gunn on Keep My Spirit Alive and The Weeknd on Hurricane. It also underutilizes a few people. And another obnoxious feature on the album would also be Pop Smoke, because his song, Tell the Vision, is the worst song on the album. I know I said that about Donda Chant, where Donda Chant feels irrelevant, but that's, it's an intro, what are you supposed to do? But Tell the Vision is the worst, because it is the most filler track on the album. And I know there are a few more filler tracks that I have not talked about yet that have worse problems than that. But Tell the Vision has the same problem that I remember finding on a 6ix9ine album, where he had Bobby Shmurda do a verse from within a prison phone call. So it feels like that exact same thing, where it's just a phone call recorded as a verse. Obviously, Pop Smoke is no longer with us, so honestly, this is really frustrating having that song on here. Another problem I have with the album is that it has a lot of really good songs on it that are completely destroyed with horrific intros, specifically Heaven and Hell and Okay Okay, because Okay Okay say, not the best song, and yeah, it's a fine track, but Heaven and Hell is a song I really like, and I think that the intro kind of diminishes what we got in the song. And just why would you need that weird, distortedly slow, like you slowed it down in Sony Vegas or whatever, song, and it's just so choppy and undone. I know Kanye has had that problem in the past where he's put out albums that are uncooked or undercooked and need to be revised later. So maybe in the future, Kanye will fix that, just like what he did with The Life of Pablo, where he redid it and then added an extra track, and that extra track just so happens to be one of the best songs on the album. And speaking of extra tracks, this album suffers from the last 4 songs, OK OK Part 2, Jail Part 2, Junior Part 2, and Jesus Lord Part 2, are basically the exact same songs, just done with different features. Now, I'm going to come up with some defense for this, because I honestly think that Kanye wanted these to be extra tracks, but they just got thrown in and were never specified as bonus tracks or whatever. But for some reason, they just appeared on the album, basically adding another 20 minutes to the album. And this is a long album. This is Kanye's longest album, running at over 145 minutes in length. So it's almost as long as if you put Kanye's last 3 albums and listen to them back to back. They'd be a little bit longer than what we got on Donda. I'm completely fine with that. It is good. It's just, I think there are some forgettable songs on the album, like Junior, Donda, and previously mentioned Tell the Vision. Both are like equally short songs that just feel redundant. But like I was saying earlier, this album, despite its inconsistencies, I do genuinely like it, and I do think that it's kind of a more unified look at faith without completely specifying which denomination he falls under or which faith he falls under, because it does have a lot of themes about like being a person and using all these gospelish elements and having inclusions of instruments like the organs and then vocal choirs that be in traditional gospel music. And I do think he incorporates that pretty well. And all of the styles he tries, including the ones where he uses specifically a house-type instrumental, really work. Kanye has had that ability to kind of switch production styles on the fly, dating back even as early as My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, where it was not strictly, oh, this is a hip-hop album, we've got to sample things in a hip-hop way. No. I really like how unique Kanye has become, even in his slightly less standout state. While I was saying the album is generally good, I don't know if it has the same level of like knocking my socks off like some of the songs on The Life of Pablo did. I like The Life of Pablo, and there are some issues with that album, especially how the second half of that album is so much better than the first. Yeah, fight me, whoever actually likes part 2. But the thing is that album starts out with one of the best songs, in my opinion, ever made. I will make that bold claim to say that Ultralight Beam is one of the best songs ever made. And he uses gospel music in this incredibly new and visionary way, even going as far as including rap into the music about faith and religion. And he still does it. And he manages to pull it off, and then he manages to tie it in so well. And that's what Kanye's true ability, once you take away all of his ego and strip that away, and then strip away his narcissistic personality and his drama that he's had with his family, his music has never not been interesting. And that's why this album took precedent over an album I genuinely think is better, Lingua Ignota's Sinner Get Ready, because this album is just leagues more interesting. It's more interesting than the last 2 albums I talked about on this channel put together, because Kanye is going into his 3rd decade of music, and he's always making me reflect on his music. And that's why I feel bad about giving it a score that I'm going to give it, because I've only heard the album twice, and Kanye's ability to grow on you as you listen to his albums more has been really uncanny as well. But for now, and this is with 2 asterisks in the fucking rating, I'm going to give this album a 6.1 out of 10. What did you think of this album? Do you think I should have talked about Sinner Get Ready? Do you think my channel will ever pass the Bechdel test? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I'm just going to listen to bass music and be incredibly cool. And in the next time, I'll see you guys later.